YouTube, what is up? We are back with another upper body day today. We are on our way to lifetime. We are 22 hours into our 24-hour fast. Our fast is actually going to end up being probably 25, 26 hours because I'm going to break it at my mom's 50th birthday party today. 50th birthday party. She's an old lady now, but I'm driving back home after this lift to go hang out with the fam bam and get some food with them. But I'm looking forward to that. Thoughts on the fast? I've done a couple 24-hour fasts before. Um, this one surprisingly has been the most I've had the most hunger pains for. The very first one I did, I kind of just bodied it because I was just so set on just doing it. And then a couple other ones. I can't remember how. I've probably done under 5 in my life. I shouldn't say like I've done a ton of them, but the other ones here and there. This one, man, it's like it is crazy how big of a bitch your mind can be if you let it be. I'm not big into the big like mental toughness world, but it's just super cool. I like looking at the psychology and looking at your brain's like automatic thoughts and habits and like what thoughts are yours and what thoughts are just like these automated like signals coming from your body. And I think that's the benefit of doing things like fast. That's the benefit of taking out things like nicotine or caffeine if you're addicted to those, like caffeine when I go on caffeine breaks, or same with weed. Like it's the same, all similar things. It's like watch your mind and body just sit there and crave and come up with these stories. It's insane. It's like today I just there's so many times there was story because like you need food for this. You're gonna go hit softballs. You need food. It's like I don't like that's weird. Like I'm 12 hours in. I can go 12 hours without food, like these weird just like signals and excuses and things that popped up. I kind of notice it sometimes in the ice tub too, but it's just this weird. It's not to battle against. Like again, I'm not fully set on just like fighting through and like thinking these things means I'm more mentally tough. I just like knowing like when my body's on automation and when I'm not. Like when am I in control and when am I not? When am I acting on my own thoughts or when is it just this automated thought process? And so I don't really look at it in a way of like trying to own your mind or trying to own your body. I think a lot of times these automated things are there for a good reason. I just like picking up on when they are there. And I think a lot of times if you're not giving yourself time to fast, you're not giving yourself breaks, you're not pushing yourself and doing hard things, you don't even realize these automated thoughts are there. Like when I'm eating on a normal day, I don't realize like that I'm eating because it was an automated like thought that popped up of like, oh, I need something in my mouth right now. Pause. Sus. Mouth can't, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, oh boy, I'm not gonna survive that one. But yeah, there's multiple times throughout the day where it's just like you wanted that dopamine hit of food. It wasn't because I was actually like hungry or needed the food. It was just I was used to that dopamine, and it was crazy how like automated it was to when I normally eat breakfast, when I normally have my midday snack, when I normally have lunch, whatever it is, like all these things. It was just an automated. Oh, you usually have this dopamine hit at this time. You usually are spending time doing this, and then another thing, it was like freeing up a lot of the day of like I wasn't cooking today. I wasn't eating and sitting down and eating. What do you do with your hands during that time? So I kind of like these little mini challenges for that reason. Again, I'm not super big into like the ownage of things. I'm into the recognition of these things, the recognition of your thought patterns, the recognition of your behaviors. Can you set yourself up to eliminate the homeostasis that you're typically at, especially if you want change, right? So like the body just loves homeostasis. The body loves staying in this like perfect comfort zone, whatever that comfort zone is for you. For a lot of people, the comfort zone is a life that is not good, a life that is not healthy, a life that is not beneficial to them. But being in that comfort zone of homeostasis, being in that comfort zone of doing the same things over and over again, regardless of if it's good for you or not, typically is better than the acceleration and deceleration that comes in the interruption of homeostasis through things like fast, through things like working out for the first time, right? So your body will fight against that because it wants to stay at the level and knows how to operate and knows how to live and survive at this level. Again, whether it's at your optimal or not, whether it's healthy or not, it knows how to operate at these levels, right? And I think people get trapped in these cycles and they feel the things that like, oh, that was uncomfortable. Oh, that must be bad for me. It's like, oh, it's probably just a break from the homeostasis, a break from those automated thought processes over and over again. And I think the more you can just give yourself breaks from that automated process, breaks from the this is how you do when stimulus A is provided to your body, you pick option B every single time. Like, I think the more you can just give your body a interruption to that, the more you can kind of take ownership over your life, ownership over the decisions you're making, and be aware. So like when I'm eating, it's like, oh, I'm not actually really eating because I'm hungry in this moment. I'm eating just because I enjoy the food, and that's okay. That's beautiful, but like, I don't want to be automated throughout my life. That's something that I've felt. And same with the thoughts. Oh, you're angry in this moment, you're reacting, you're acting out, not because it was the right decision, but because it's just what you do. It's your defense mechanism, right? And I think obviously I've talked about this before, but mushrooms have been a big thing in my life to like have that massive stop in the homeostasis of what I was doing, massive pause, massive pullback from what I was doing, to where now I can pick up, oh, this is what you're doing. That's why you're doing that. And it's kind of cool just to see the different characters that are within the character of yourself, the different, oh, this is angry Austin, this is crabby Austin, this is tired Austin. And then when you notice these things, if you don't like them, you can go change them, right? And I think that that's the ownership, that's the mental toughness side of things, right? That's the benefit of mental toughness. I just don't think I think a lot of typical mental toughness is just more automation, right? It's more homeostasis, right? For maybe a lot of mental toughness warriors, maybe they need to go like party or need to go smoke. I'm not saying like push that on unhealthy options, but like maybe they need a break from the mental toughness. That was something like I was locked in the mental toughness route. Like I was locked into grind, 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 grind. There was no creativity there. There was no art. There was no emotion there, right? It was just a stoic fucking robot. And that wasn't productive, right? Like it was semi-productive. It was more productive than being a partier, but there was no option to enter exponential gain that art and creativity allows you to enter, right? So I just think the more you can give yourself ways to break up the way you're typically living life, especially if you want change, especially if you're not where you're at, the more it'll allow you to notice why you are making the decisions you are making, notice those other thoughts, notice the things that are just that you typically aren't noticing, and being like, oh, that's a part of me I didn't realize. And I think that's super important. I think knowing yourself is super important, and knowing all the little people within yourself. And it sounds like schizophrenic, but everybody has multiple people. 6 a.m. version of yourself is way different than the noon version of yourself, which is way different than the midnight version of yourself. And the more you can get these people in continuity, the people within the people, the more you can get those people in continuity of your true self, the more you can just be your true self at 6 a.m., at midnight, at noon, whatever time of day it is. And when you're not, you can pick up on it much faster rather than getting stuck in these autonomic cycles of at 6 a.m. I am this person, at noon I am this person, at midnight I am that person, on these days I'm this person, on those days I'm that person. And I think a lot of people kind of get stuck in those traps, and it's not super productive. I don't know how we got to that rant from fasting, but anyways, we're 22 hours into a fast. We have an hour to work out here, then we're going to head to my mom's birthday party. So we're going to rip this workout, we're going to get after it. Let's go. All right, so today is going to be a pretty quick meathead ripper. No, we're doing shoulder presses. We'll do some sort of pull down or lat machine today. 5 rep max on the shoulder press. Some, I don't know, probably ripper for the lats. We'll do some core work. We'll hit some arms, and we got to get out. We got again like 40 minutes with all the travel today. It's all kind of everything's kind of just mumble jumble today, but kind of keep that chain alive, make sure we're getting all of our workouts in, and not missing anything. Don't want to fall into a streak of missing stuff because we're busy, right? So let's keep rolling. 5 rep max here. Let's go. Intern Chuck's last day was today. We had to send him off. He's a grown man now. He's going back to Canada for his baseball team that he plays on. But dude was an absolute legend. I posted his karaoke singing on the Instagram today, and if you haven't listened to it, you should listen to it. He was on The Voice when he was a kid. I know I've mentioned that before, but holy shit, dude, he's phenomenal singing. Both him and Lily, but absolute legend. This one's for him. Let's go. I didn't even really, I know I talked about it at the start of the week, but I didn't even really mention why we did the 24-hour fast in the first place. Millennium concert tomorrow, so we will be going on a spiritual trip. Oh, where's the mushroom? Where's the mushroom? We got to get the mushroom so we don't say it out loud. Oh, I might have lost my mushroom. Where are we at? Yeah, a little spiritual trip tomorrow, and I kind of like setting up, like cleaning up life a little bit before it, making sure everything's kind of like eating clean the week before, making sure you're not smoking, making sure you're not doing any trash things. I think a lot of times when you go on some of these trips, that if you have a lot of trash in your system, the mushroom will kind of tell you, hey, you're being a piece of shit. And I think the cleaner you kind of live life and just kind of set it up as more of a spiritual practice rather than just like showing up and trying to take a bunch of freaking drugs to escape. I think there's a massive difference there, and I've definitely been on both sides of them, and it's two totally different trips, and you learn two totally different things and have two totally different experiences from it. But I think one of the things with people talking about bad trips, I think, I don't know, to me it's more so it's just telling you where you're sloppy in life, and if you clean some of that up, the mushroom will kind of reward you for that. So we got that tomorrow. That's why we're doing a 24-hour fast today, just to be clean with it. We were going to go a little bit longer, but not gonna lie, kind of forgot it was my mom's birthday and didn't know we had this dinner planned until like yesterday. So 24 hours it's going to be, and kind of feeling the 24-hour fast right now, not gonna lie. Let's get it. The best part about this whole concert tomorrow is that we got softball at 7 in the morning on Saturday for a softball national qualifying tournament on Saturday. So might be in a little rough shape for that little 4 hours of sleep before we get the BP. Cluster, got one more. A little bit of sand. Let's get to the lats, let's go. All right, we were gonna do a machine row here, but the machines are kind of taken, and we are in a time crunch here. So we're gonna hit sets of 5, rows from the ground, dead stop rows. Every single time we're gonna go wide grip, pick it up and rip it. Let's go. Now, if you're a big follower of Yoakum Strength or know anything about my philosophy, I'm against totally fear-mongering movements. But bent over rows are one of my least favorites for the back for a lot of athletes that do have lower back pain. I think there's a lot of ways to pick things up from the ground that are more effective, just doing a hex bar deadlift, doing a regular deadlift, doing some Olympic lifting that are gonna get you more out of the lift. But bent over rows kind of give you the same compression stimulus of being bent over, where I think you can eliminate some of that compression by just having them row like chest supported, having them do pull-ups, having them do a lot of machines, just getting a lot of really good lat work in there. Again, I'm not always against bent over rowing. I think being able to pick things up at the ground, rowing them, and just doing the movement is important. I just think if you're thinking about the total load management of an athlete throughout the week, it's not one of my favorite spots to spend compression energy, if that makes sense, especially with my lower back athletes. Athletes that have lower back pain, it's not one of my favorite spots to put that energy towards. If it's something I want to get better at, or we just do, and again, it's not like we eliminate them all the time, but it's definitely a rare exercise in one of our workout programs. With that being said, let's eat. And I think that can be a important distinction between fearmongers of exercise and just being like, hey, that exercise isn't for me, right? Like, if I'm gonna be the best feeling athlete that I am, I'm probably not gonna deadlift a ton. That doesn't make deadlifts a bad exercise. That's one of the biggest things I got against guys like Boyle. It's like back squats are just bad, black and white. It's like, that's such a silly statement, dude. Like, I could back squat all day, every day, and really have no issues doing it. Like, I feel amazing when I'm back squatting. I feel so much better. But you turn it to a deadlift, or even a lot of the unilateral stuff that he's talking about when I'm going heavy Hatfield squats, it's like my spine feels way more compressed doing a lot of that stuff, right? So I think saying an exercise isn't your favorite exercise or isn't the exercise for you, and then not doing that exercise because you made the decision that, hey, I just don't feel great when I do those exercises, is a much, much different thing than saying that exercise is bad. It's like, no, that exercise is bad for you, or bad for you in the situation that you're currently in, or, there's so many nuanced pieces there, but to say an exercise is bad is silly. But like, if I'm going to build up my perfect program, I'm not going to have bent over rows in my program. That doesn't mean bent over rows are bad or useless. I know a lot of athletes that fucking love rowing heavy things off the ground. I have a lot of athletes. I have a lot of athletes ask for bent over rows in the program, and they ask for them probably because I don't have them, and it's traditional exercise that they know, and I'll put them in there for them because they like doing them and they feel like they get a good pump. For me specifically, I don't feel like I get a lot of lat activation when I'm doing it, and it feels a little bit too much low back for me. But again, I'm still going to do it. I still don't like hate the exercise or swear out the exercise. It's just if I'm trying to like be nuanced about things, right? So I think there's a big difference there. I don't think there's super bad exercises. I just think there's people that demonize exercises because they're not good for them individually, which is okay. If an exercise is not for you individually, you don't have to do that exercise. But if you want to build back up into that exercise, we definitely can. If I want to get better at bent over rows, I can do a bunch of lower back exercises and work my bent over row form and do a ton of bent over rows to get better at it, and then I won't feel pain doing it, right? And I'm not saying I feel pain now, but I just think it's compressive energy I don't need to spend on it, right? So I think there's a distinction there to be made that a lot of coaches just don't. It's like good exercise, bad exercises. Silly, right? Good for you, bad for you, maybe. Last set here, gonna rip, and then we're gonna quickly do some arms, and then we gotta get out of here. Actually, I might do some shrugs with the arms, but we'll do shrugs, arms, and then we gotta get out. I'm already gonna be 10 minutes late to her party, and she's gonna kill me. Let's get it. Let's go. All right, for how much Atlas pisses me off about tip raises, he's right about shrugs. Do heavy shrugs, get big traps. We're gonna hit 8 reps here, rip them. Let's go. Way too light. Shrugs are done. In between the shrugs, we've been ripping just arms, like I was saying. If you want a sick forearm pump, we got weak, dainty wrist. Either of the two. I really like these for softball too, just to get like this wrist less dainty, that forearm pump in. Get some plate pinch curls in. Plate pinch, a lot of stuff will help a lot with the forearm and the wrist, but get a sick forearm pump when you're doing these curl style. Pinching here, curling up. We got 15 reps. Less bicep here, more forearm than anything. Forearm and wrist and hand. Boom, money. All right, triceps, and we're out. So we got 25 of these, third set here. I think one of the beauties of having that variety approach, even if you're not an athlete, you're just straight up a power lifter or a bodybuilder, is one, the different ways that you can work the muscle. And it kind of helps in two ways, right? It builds the muscle, builds your strength in different positions, makes the muscle more holistically strong, if that makes sense. A little bit of meathead science there. But also eliminates the wear and tear, right? So a lot of times when guys are doing tricep pushdowns, same motion every single time, they're working like mid tricep or lateral tricep every single time. You're putting a lot of wear and tear on that muscle. You're gonna get more beat up every single time. You're gonna get progressively good at that exercise. So to progress even more, you're gonna have to put more wear and tear, right? Isn't the worst thing in the world, but I think if you just add a tiny bit of variety, a lot of powerlifters that I work with, we just do a tiny bit of variety to the stuff that we're doing, especially in our accessories, and you can find a lot of weak points and work the muscle in a lot of different ways, right? So this machine specifically is like super medial tricep, like a spot I haven't worked in a long time, right? So one that's gonna make the tricep, again, stronger, but it's also gonna wear and tear on that elbow a lot less because I can do a lot less weight, fatigue a lot faster, get a lot more out of that exercise, right? So I think that's one of the benefits of just adding in just a tiny bit of variation if you're a power lifter, meathead, without destroying your body. Again, most of the guys that I've worked with, they love the gym, they love grinding. They're so fucking beat up, and that's the biggest thing with those guys. It's like you just have to have them survive for a long period of time. So many powerlifters just fuck themselves up because they have a 12-week program that just runs them into the ground like crushes them and destroys them in 12 weeks, right? And if I can have my client train for 18 weeks without having to be crushed, like that's 6 more weeks of training, regardless of the magic exercise that we're doing. We're just doing the basic stuff for 6 weeks longer, right? And we just had them survive because they weren't wear and tear less, right? So I think that's one of the benefits of just having a tiny bit of spice in your program. Doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to go full yoke strength yet, but it's a benefit. We have 25 reps here. I'm gonna actually jack up the weight here. I already did this. Boom. All right, that is a day. I'm gonna go change, shower, get ready for this birthday party, break the fast in an hour and a half when I get home, and right from there, we'll be back tomorrow. Let's rip.